Jupiter, Jupiter at Night's presented live on the internet.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Jupiter at Night. My name is Chris.
My name is Jeremy.
Now, we got to be easy on the J-Man tonight. He's a little sick still.
I have the sick.
Yeah. Now, you didn't get it from PAX.
No. I think I got it from my nephew, actually.
Oh, really?
The other day we had a little birthday party thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Somebody's birthday is coming up, but I think we'll save that for a couple of nights.
Nights away.
Tonight's big news is the new redesign of Twitter.com. If you haven't heard, which...
What rock are you living under?
We will talk about that a little bit. We've got some early thoughts on that. We'll probably throw that towards the end of the episode.
Right. Because coming up before that, another big article that came out today in the kind of social networking vein was this little biography courtesy of the New Yorker.
Yeah, now how happy do you suppose old Zuck here is that the Twitter announcement came out today to sort of steal the headlines away from this? I mean, that was some pretty good timing because
it's not an entirely favorable article, so he might have been thanking them for
That's
that.
what I'm thinking. I mean, the announcement worked out pretty timely because one of the things in here is do you remember that rumor? I think we neglected not to cover it on Jupiter at Night, but
it was very rumor feeling. I wasn't sure how much weight there was.
It was essentially somebody had a chat transcript where Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO, the co-founder of Facebook, was calling his users dumb Fs for even trusting his service.
Right. And offering, well, here's a little bit of the transcript. He offered a friend, hey, if you ever need info about anybody at Harvard, just ask. I have over 4,000 emails, pictures, addresses.
Offering it.
He's just offering it. And his friend was like, well, where'd you get all those? And he said, well, people just gave them to me. They trust me.
So the big story here is that, they're confirming that is real. Through Mark Zuckerberg via his lawyers confirming that's real. But they also say that, that was
4 years ago.
That was young Mark.
Yeah, he's grown up so much in the past 4 years.
Well, I wonder if they probably think of stuff in internet years. They probably think 4 years in internet time was like 10 years ago.
Well, I mean, 4 years was before Facebook.
Exactly. And it's been like 10 years since we've had Facebook on the internet, right?
Probably 30, actually.
Yeah.
In internet years. Yeah. That was a long time ago.
So, anyways, the New Yorker has the article if you're curious to read a little bit about that.
I find this a little bit interesting because, they're also coming out with a movie sometime soon about the founding of Facebook. And I'm wondering how much...
Which is getting creepily good reviews.
I know, it actually looks like a pretty decent movie. I wish I was more interested in the subject matter.
Yeah, exactly. But some of the early reviews are that it's good and you should go see it, and I just completely dumbfounded by that.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in watching that movie at all.
I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Now, one thing that I actually do kind of care about, it's a little creepy, and we'll try not to get all sensational about this, but this is true, and Google did just confirm this today as well. These are all today's stories, aren't they? These are late breaking. That's awesome.
This is timely for once.
So Google confirmed that an engineer had access to chat transcripts and emails and was monitoring.
Well, I think. Okay, here's the kind of scary part about this is they confirmed that all of their engineers have access to
certain
this.
Ones
they require access to a lot of your personal information in order to be able to do their job on a daily basis.
Well, troubleshooting, like they say, they're kind of unclear. Google won't confirm or deny it, but an ex-Google employee was sort of a vague nature saying, well, we might be able to get to your data because if we need to troubleshoot a problem in the database, then we need to be able to validate if the data is corrupt or valid or not.
Right. But now this guy, we won't talk too much about this story, but this guy was basically taking that information and using it to stalk a group of teens that he had met through his job somehow. I wasn't clear on how a group of teens had met a Google engineer. That's a little creepy.
Well, he worked as a site reliability engineer here in the Kirkland office here in Washington State, where we live. And what they insinuate in the article later on is that essentially using the chat transcripts and stuff like that, he made contact with them, offered to take them out to the movies and stuff like that. Now, that's not really the angle we want to take on this story. It is a little weird, though, and it's actually a pretty decent write-up by Gawker, and it's long, too. But the fundamental issue I have with this is the problem with any organization, despite a motto never to be evil,
it's the people.
It's the people that run it.
There's always that element of human error or human misjudgment. going on in any. I mean, Facebook is huge and successful, but it could be argued that their CEO should not be in charge of that many people's personal information.
Right. And
Google is huge and successful, and so many billions of people trust them with their information, and yet one single guy could potentially be the downfall of their trust.
Weird, too, that it was right here in our backyard. That's kind of, I don't know. That's just, out of all the employees Google has, it is kind of funny that it happened to be here from Washington. Now,
that just seems like our luck.
I know. I'll just leave it at we just have to trust that they put safeguards in the matter. And there is a public confirmation by Google that this guy was fired and they took disciplinary actions. And I hope they look into what access he had and review that kind of stuff.
The alternative to having that amount of human error is to put it all in control of the robots, and you know how I feel about that.
Right.
So that's just not a good plan, guys.
I'd rather have evil humans than evil robots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If those are our choices.
Yeah. All right. So
no, we've been kind of a downer on social networking this whole show, but you mentioned why don't we bring up some good things?
No, because obviously we are both fairly heavy social media users, and I wanted to address a couple of things that we were chatting with our live stream before we went on the air and thought, okay, let's get some of your concerns about social networking. What do you guys think? What are some of the things you said? One of the things people threw out a lot was social networking just seems like a social circle jerk online where you go hang out with a social group, basically a big high school buddy network. It can be that.
It can be.
I think I have people in my family use it like that.
Is you can get as much out of them as you want.
Yeah.
And they're really as good for you as you put into them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, neither one of us, we're both on Twitter and Facebook, and neither one of us follow like Ashton Kutcher. A lot of people say, oh, Twitter is for celebrities. That's another common thing. Is Twitter is just for the rich and famous was another comment from the chat room. And,
which that explains why we're on it, right?
Right. It's not, I do follow celebrities, but the celebrities that I follow are, like Star Trek celebrities.
Or they actually have interests that we are interested in as well. I follow Simon Pegg is a good example, and he's a total geek. He's not only just a total geek, and he talks about a lot of things that I'm interested in, but he's also...
Simon Pegg played Scotty in the new Star Trek movie.
Yeah, he's also in Britland, over in the Englander side of the pond. So he gets a lot of information about things I've never heard of.
Oh, media-wise.
Nerdy things.
Oh, okay.
So he's a great person for me to be following so they can open doors to new things.
And as an enthusiast, you can connect with game developers and game publishers directly on Twitter. In fact, for our show Stoked, we had the opportunity right before Star Trek Online shipped to travel down to Cryptic and get some behind-the-scenes footage and interviews with them. And that initial contact was made via Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely.
We didn't have anyone's contact information. They didn't have our contact information.
Right.
You had to have almost this public directory to be able to go to.
Right.
And that was really cool. And
if we hadn't have followed up on that through Twitter, we would have not ended up going. And I think that was kind of a turning point for our show. So it was really cool to be a part of that. Yeah. I have also been using Twitter to make contacts. My other job is as a reviewer on a video game website, and I've been making industry contacts through them and getting story ideas through my friends and through industry contacts, all on Twitter. It's just it's great.
There's been a ton of stuff that I've been able to get through Twitter that I would never have gotten before. When the first iPhone 3G came out, I said, okay, I'm going to try this whole wait in line for a product and get an iPhone. But I didn't want to stand in line for hours and hours and hours longer than I had to.
Right.
So I started watching on...
you didn't want to show up on King 5 News on there.
I actually got on Cairo 7 News.
Oh.
Yeah. I went in my robe. I thought if I'm going to go, I'm going to go in my robe. Hey, if Jeremy can do the show in his pajamas, I'm going to go to a stand.
Called me out. Curse you.
No, so I was down there, and what I did is I searched on Twitter for people talking about iPhone, Linwood, and Line. And then when I started seeing more and more people start talking about it, I could kind of gauge, okay, the line's probably starting to show up. So then I picked a few people that seemed like they had the most coherent things to say, and I just messaged them directly, hey, how's the line looking?
And they told you. And
randomly through the internet, I just made a complete connection to a person standing in the line to get information. I mean, that's crazy.
That is the crazy side of networking. That is how it's cool, but at the same time extremely scary, because you knew that those people out of the random millions that are on Twitter were in Linwood, standing in line for an iPhone.
Now, it wasn't based on any location taking at this point. They were putting I'm in the Linwood line, so they were publicly broadcasting, which is the same like when you're on like a public walkie-talkie or something like that, and you go, that goes out over the public
like CB
airwaves.
radio? Do people still use those?
Yeah. The other thing I've used it for, to kind of step back from things that are more applicable to podcasters, but I've used it more for tech support. I had a job situation where a client of mine who was an airline used a Citrix infrastructure for all their booking, and the whole Citrix system was offline and down, and so the planes were grounded until we could get the system back up. And it was late at night, and I was on the phone with Citrix support, and they were closed, and nobody was answering, and we were in a real panic situation.
Yeah,
finally,
a bunch of planes on the ground that can't take off.
and dollars. My time is going, and all the pilots' time, and all that stuff, right? And so I finally had to held off, but I finally said I just got to do something. I got on Twitter, found Citrix support, and said, at Citrix support or whatever it was, you've got to help us. We're a critical airline down here. We need help. Please call us. And I gave them the company's number. I was a little worried about doing that, and sure enough, within probably 10 minutes, we had a call, and they set us up a special support case. And
Twitter to the rescue!
We got things back up and going again.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so
I love that story. You've told it to me like a dozen times now, but I love it. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think that might have been one of the stories you told to get me on Twitter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you'd mentioned too
Like
that you
2
use a
years
lot
ago
for
or so.
it's a great source of news now.
Yeah,
And
I
I also
replaced
feel
some
that
of
same
my
way.
news feeds.
Yeah.
Just because I don't need them in my reader anymore because they're either twittering out their top
Right.
stories
And
or
Rikai mentions too. I made an offhanded comment about location tagging, but also people are choosing to tag their location. That's an option. It's not like a big scary thing they turn on.
right.
There was a story about house burglars using Facebook Places to know when somebody's out of their house and then run in and go rob them while they were away.
But you know what? I thought about that on the way over here because I was thinking of putting that in as like a tip about don't use the location tabbing.
Yeah.
But then, you know what? They're going to go somewhere. They're going to go to a party and they're going to tweet out that they're at a party. Or they're going to
totally.
post it on their Facebook, a new picture on their Facebook. And
Yeah.
one way or another, people are going to find out. So instead, lock your doors.
That's a good tip.
Old school right there.
Now, do you want to talk a little bit about the new Twitter interface at all before we start?
Sure. I don't have a lot to say about it.
Neither
So
one
I
of us
guess-
actually have the new interface yet
No.
on our active accounts.
But we tuned into the live Ustream unveiling of it, which was balls.
Well, it was just a kind of unofficial Robert Scobelizer, cracked open his laptop and said, "Hey, can I stream this?"
Yeah.
In
I
fact,
think somebody as big as Twitter would have their own stream set up, though.
I know.
That was lame.
Was pathetic. The live stream we are doing now is 50 times the quality that Twitter had.
50,000.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, you can actually hear us, so that's a positive.
Yeah.
At least I'm assuming. So the actual unveiling of the website, as they started, I was a little meh.
It was done via tweet, which was kind of cute, but it was also their PowerPoint type presentation thing broke down halfway through it, so that was also kind of endearing, just because they don't seem like the mega monster corporate giant that things go wrong for them as well.
Yeah.
But okay, then they unveiled the new design, and I was like, okay, I'm bored now.
Yeah, it was. I guess I like it. I had first my initial impression was it kind of looks like a combination of a lot of. I see the new iPad application in here. I see TweetDeck in here. I see a little bit of Seismic Desktop, the new one that they're doing. But overall, the big focus is you're going to have a 2-column interface now. And I thought, boy, that whole right column when I'm not displaying media is a massive waste of space.
Oh, huge waste of space. And I also have to wonder, I mean, are the Twitter development crew just kind of sitting around and looking at the apps and going, that works, and stealing the code back?
Yes. I don't know if they're stealing the code, but they're ripping off
reinventing the wheel, whatever.
But
They're not innovating. They're
I've
just
been
taking
looking at this design, and the left-hand column, while it's a ton of wasted space, that left-hand column is a fixed width because it can't ever be more than 140 characters.
Right.
So it's not like you're really cutting anything off.
No. It really, you should complain at your friends if it looks wasted space because they're not saying enough.
Yeah.
You get 140 and you don't use them.
I like the embedded use of Google Maps too. I think that was a really nice touch.
I also like that they are going to be implementing embedded inline videos and pictures will be coming.
Sure.
Which they already have on the mobile app.
Right. What the other thing I wonder is it kills like YFrogger and a lot of picture sites because they're just turning them into an embedding site now. They're not going to be sending anyone to their site for traffic.
Right.
Because it just displays right there. I mean, I wouldn't think so. I mean,
I hated having to go to those offsite things anyway.
I
It
know,
seemed like just a waste of time. I mean,
it's one thing to display the image in line. It's another thing to use their service to do it.
Oh, is that?
I believe
hot
so.
linking?
I haven't seen it yet, but that's what I was reading in the description.
Well, they need to fix
now,
that.
maybe they've worked out a rev share deal or something like that. Maybe.
How does Twitter make money?
They do have promoted tweets and stuff like that now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was actually a joke going around that was going to be their big announcement.
We
don't know how to make money, so we're shutting it down.
And I think my response to that was, "Oh God, we could only be so fortunate." I don't know. I actually think it's actually, when I've thought about it, it's a pretty decent improvement. And I actually am starting to take to Twitter a little more seriously these days. I was an early-ish adopter.
I think that's a big thing about this UI revamp that is really going to hit it home, is the fact that this means the site is growing up. I mean, because it's been the same old site with the exact same UI, the exact same issues since it launched.
That's a good point.
What, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah.
And now they finally have implemented something that makes it look a little more modern, a little more useful, a little more busy.
Yeah.
But it looks like
a
website you would go to today.
You know what else I'll give them credit for? Is they didn't do what Dig4 did, and a lot of other sites are doing. They didn't rip off Facebook's UI.
Yeah.
I hate Facebook's UI.
So do I.
And I think Facebook is way too complex. And I think it's ridiculous that Dig4 went that direction. And I could totally have seen Twitter doing that. They stuck to their own thing. We'll see how people react to it. I have a feeling there's going to be tweaks that they're gonna push out.
Yep.
And
I'm honestly a little worried that this extra, they already get the fail whale once a day for me probably while I'm checking it. That's when Twitter goes down.
You gotta wonder if maybe this was connected to some back-end improvements. Like, we need to improve a ton of infrastructure, so we also have to modify a bunch of the client code. We might as well just do this beast.
Maybe. I really hope so, because that's the number one improvement I'd like to see is more server uptime.
Yeah, I hear you.
More reliable uptime.
Boy, when I joined, it was down many times.
I believe it.
That's actually why. Anyways, I'll save that for
blah,
maybe a war story.
Blah,
hey, what is your Twitter handle?
JB Jeremy.
There you go. And I am.
You guys are welcome to join me.
And I am Chris LAS. Now, yesterday was the Halo Reach launch at midnight.
No way.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard about this.
And on the live stream, we gave away a copy, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And then we went down after Jupiter Nite, and we went to Reset Games, who are the folks that hooked us up with the giveaway. And we shot some footage of the people there waiting to get the game. We talked to the people there, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be featuring that in the upcoming episode of Lotso, which will be shot on Friday the 24th. But before we sign off, I don't know if you got a chance to watch on the live stream last night. Did you get a chance to see Northwest Goofballs live?
Oh, I'm sick. I was medicated, so I went to bed kind of early.
Totally. Man, it was late last night, but
yeah,
they nailed that episode.
So football season started, right?
Yeah. I don't know, dude. I'm not a football person. But that's just it. I'm listening to that show. I'm just like, wow, it's like osmosis almost.
Right.
I'm picking the small things up. Like, I didn't realize upset was a term they used. It was a football vernacular.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there was upsets. I know that. I now know that. If you're a football fan, though, go over to JupiterBroadcasting.com and check out Northwest Goofballs. The guys are football fanatics.
I've watched a couple episodes, or listened to, rather, in the past, and I wish I liked football.
Yeah.
These guys sound like they know what they're doing.
I know. It's like early Twit. When Twit really chewed on technology, and it was really engaging conversation.
These guys cover the
Only
numbers.
Football.
They cover the strategies. They cover
and they know
the team,
it all.
The lineup,
they have
the
it
rosters.
all completely memorized. Every single technical detail. Like me with Star Trek stuff, it's like them with football. It's weird.
Wow.
Only I would say more. And harder, because that's way more moving and changing. Anyways, that's a long way of saying check that out if you're a football fan. And if you'd like to join us live, we are Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. Pacific. That's GMT -8 over at JupiterBroadcasting.com/live. Okay, everyone. Thanks so much for watching tonight's episode of Jupiter Night, and we'll see you tomorrow night.